You're watching Chef Showdown, the show where I take multiple recipes on YouTube for the same dish and I put them head to head to see who has the better recipe. We're making cookies by Binging with Babish, Joshua Wiseman, Claire Stafford's, a mystery fourth contestant, and we're also going to be comparing it to store-bought cookies. Today I'm only going to show you me making Josh's recipe because the other two are in the fridge already. They call for being made a day in advance so they could chill overnight, but Josh's recipe does not. And we're going to start off by chopping up 2 blocks of chocolate. Now that we've chopped the chocolate, the next step is to add both brown sugar and white sugar and mix those until combined. And this recipe, much like Babish's recipe, uses more brown sugar than white sugar, whereas Claire's recipe uses equal amounts. I don't know how that's going to affect the final cookie, but something to note, something to keep in mind. So I've got the sugar in the mixer, and now I'm just going to stir it up. And now that they look pretty homogeneous, pretty incorporated into each other, I'm going to add the butter, which is weird because this recipe, unlike the other two, calls for just regular melted butter. But the other two require you to brown your butter, which gives it a bit more nutty flavor, a bit more of that butterscotch hit, as Claire Stafford's would say. I don't know if that's going to affect the final cookie. It's something to keep in mind for sure. We're just going to gently stream this in, hopefully not make a mess on my counter in the process. Now that everything is once again homogeneous, we're going to add in the eggs. And unlike the other two recipes, this one calls for an extra egg yolk, which is interesting. It might make for a richer cookie. Who knows? What do I know? I don't know anything, but something to keep in mind as well. Now that the eggs are fully mixed in with everything else, we're going to add some baking soda and salt. Now that that's fully mixed in, we're going to lastly add some vanilla before we get to the flour and chocolate. And about the vanilla, Babish's recipe actually doesn't use any at all. Instead, he uses cinnamon, which he claims is his secret ingredient. And then Claire uses the most vanilla out of all of them. Not by much, it's only about a teaspoon more. This one has 2 teaspoons, whereas Claire's recipe has 1 tablespoon. We're just going to add this in here, and hopefully we'll be most of the way there. And now we're in the final stretch. We're going to add this flour into the batter, which is kind of strange because unlike all the other recipes, Josh does not mix in the dry ingredients together. The other recipes call for separating the dry ingredients and mixing those separately, whereas this one just kind of throws them in one at a time. Bit of an interesting strategy. Don't know if that actually has an effect on the cookie texture or final taste. We're going to add the flour next nonetheless. So I've added the flour in stages as recommended by the recipe, and then we should be ready to add the chocolate. So the flour is fully incorporated and we're most of the way there. We're just going to add this chocolate and we should be about ready to bake all of these cookies and find out who is the winner. It's a delicate operation. I'm just scooping these out into relatively even-sized balls onto some parchment paper. And we're just about there. We have Babish's cookies, Claire's cookies, and Josh's cookies. They all look quite a bit different. I think Claire's was the softest batter out of the 3. Babish's was the stiffest. And then of course, Josh's cookies are the biggest because he requires them to be Big Daddy cookies. Whatever that means. But we're gonna get them into the oven. Thankfully, they all bake at the same temperature of 350. They require different times. So we're gonna let this one go for about 14 minutes. This one's about 17, and this one's about 20. And at long last, we have finally baked all of the cookies, and as you can see, I can't see a damn thing. I don't know which is which. I don't know where either of these cookies are. I'm gonna try to find my way around them, navigate, and try each and every one of them to see who has the better cookie. All right, this is the edge. I'm gonna go for this one right here. I'm just gonna snap off a piece. Try not to make too much contact with it. So that cookie had a crispy edge and a slightly chewy interior from what I got. I kind of broke it off too close to the edge, but either way, the first thing that I was met with was abundance of salt on my palate. If I had to make a clear, educated guess, I would say it's probably Josh's cookie just because I know Babish has cinnamon in his. I didn't get any of that. I'm going with the first one being Josh's cookie. That is my educated guess. So with that said, on to the next one. That is a bit of a dead giveaway. Yeah. A damn fine cookie. Definitely the store-bought because it is the thinnest of the cookies in the bunch. There's not really much there. Chocolate doesn't stand out. The batter is slightly sweet, and that's about it. A decent cookie. It's from my local grocery store, their bakery section. It's really fine, but I don't think this is something that I made myself. So we got this one done, we got this one done, and now we're onto this one. Am I crazy, or is this confirmation bias? But I think there's like the most subtle hit of cinnamon in the background. This is probably Babish's cookie because of the salt by the power deduction. It has to be that one. Claire's doesn't have salt. Or it could also be the mystery cookie. So now I'm like gaslighting myself. Is this what I think it is? I'm going all in on this answer, final answer, because now that I really pay attention, the aftertaste, there is like a lingering, like if you really pay attention, lingering bit of spice. I think that's the cinnamon. I hope. I really hope that is. I'm really second guessing myself, but I also want to go with my answer. Babish's cookie is the center cookie. All right, so this should be the next cookie right here. I got a lot of that one. This one actually has like the most soft texture of them all. And I have to deduce that this is the mystery cookie. The big reveal is that the mystery cookie, the mystery contestant, is just a blend of all three batters in case you hadn't got that already. So this is a little bit of Josh's cookie, a little bit of Babish's cookie, and a little bit of Claire's cookie. You have a very firm exterior. The edge of the crust is very snappy, but more of the cookie is just like a gooey, sort of melts in your mouth kind of affair. It's got a really pleasant taste. It's not too sweet. And of course the salt on top is a piece de resistance. And with that, we should be on to our last cookie. Based off my guesses so far, it has to be Claire's cookie. Oh, this is definitely the crispiest cookie. This is almost feeling like a Tate's cookie. Not a Tate's cookie, a Tate's cookie. Like Tate, you've seen the little green bags, you know what I'm talking about. That one has the most developed flavors out of all of the cookies. I get a lot of the vanilla. I think the crisp exterior with a slightly giving interior is a nice contrast. By and large, this is probably the firmest cookie we have here, though we did follow the recipe to a T. I think you get a lot of that nuttiness from the browned butter. So there was also a bit of that in Babish's cookie. I think it's more pronounced in Claire's cookie just because you got the most cook time. I think that really activated all of the flavors. Again, that vanilla is there. The texture is excellent. If you like a crispy cookie, I know some people are more into that than the chewy cookies. Texture-wise, I'd say the super cookie wins it. Flavor-wise, I think Josh's cookie wins it, or what I presume to be Josh's cookie, just because the chocolate flavor is more rich, more intense. It is a bit more pronounced. Babish's cookie is a bit more milk chocolate forward. If you're into that, you'll most likely like that one better. But me personally, I do like more astringent flavor profiles. The only thing left is to remove the blindfold and find out if I was right and see who's who. And surprisingly, or unsurprisingly, I don't know, I was correct about all of these cookies. They are, in fact, what I said they were. This is Josh's, this is the store-bought, this is Babish's, this is the super cookie, and this is Claire's. I think whichever recipe you go with is gonna be a good time. Me personally, I prefer Josh's cookie, but that's by and large due to the fact that I put a different kind of chocolate in there. Though this was the easiest cookie to make. Mind you, I didn't brown butter. I did not chill it overnight. And it still came out pretty comparable. I think Babish's cookie edges it out in appearance. It's definitely visually a lot nicer to look at. And I think that's probably due to the fact that you chilled it overnight. So it gives you a bit more of a ripple effect on the cookie and the crumb looks prettier. Aesthetically, Babish wins. Taste-wise, Josh wins. Texture-wise, the super cookie wins. And with all that said, I would like to thank you for watching and also thank my patrons because they give me money and I really appreciate that. Thank you to Eggox, thank you to Max Gin, and thank you to everyone on the fridge. If you too would like to get on the fridge or just support the show in general, the link to the Patreon is in the pinned comment below.